Good evening and welcome back to Cannon Chatter TV. Tonight is something a little bit different. As you can see, I'm actually hosting tonight. Stephen is currently at work, which is unfortunate. We do miss him, but I am naturally joined by my other co-host, which is G. How are you, G?
Yeah, I'm good, I'm really, really well. Been so busy lately, just with work and family, and obviously with it only being 5 days till the big day. Obviously just getting ready for that and, presents and wrapping and so forth. But yeah, no, I'm really, really good. Looking forward to the show. How are you? How have you been? I know you had some minor surgery today.
Yeah, they butchered my arm, but I live. I will. I promise. I mean, I'm here. I did say to you guys, I might not be here next week, but I'm here. I'm hosting, so I'm all good.
Dedication.
Yeah, it's all for you guys that are watching. I promise. All right, G, I'm going to run the intro, and then we'll get on with the show.
Arsenal have gone through an entire league campaign without losing. The first time it's happened.
Welcome back to Cannon Chatter TV with myself, Lottie, and of course, G. So 3 wins, 9 points in a week. How does that feel, G? How does it feel?
You know what's so crazy? Yeah, is just how quickly the mood is changing, amongst the fans. Even for myself, I just find it that with the team being so inconsistent, it's like I can just be very high, with Arsenal in terms of performances, results, and then obviously off the back of a couple of defeats, it's like the mood is low. Now all of a sudden, after the Everton game, I think we were all feeling really, really kind of low, really kind of slumped, and now all of a sudden, I think 2-3 wins on a bounce. And things are looking a lot more kind of optimistic again. So I think we always knew that this season was going to be a bit like this, quite a lot of ups and downs. But yeah, I can't complain. 4-1 victory against Leeds is exactly what we needed. So yeah, feeling good at the moment.
Yeah, no, I mean they're coming thick and fast. I can tell you that. I mean, that's every few days I'm at the home games, and it's just okay. On to the next one.
Yeah.
I mean, we're on a roll, and it is nice. It is genuinely nice. So the team sheet came out. Sorry, just bear with me 1 second. And where are we? There we go. Sorry about that. There we go. And what did you think of the lineup, G? I know it's the most consistent we have in the last 2 games, but what did you think?
Yeah, so it's the lineup it's a weird one, isn't it? It's last season Arteta was continuously kind of baffling us with his lineups. And I think that was just a reflection of the fact that he didn't necessarily have the players he wanted at his disposal. Do you know what I mean? To pick a consistent team. And then obviously at the beginning of the season, it was somewhat similar. He had a lot of injuries, a lot of COVID situations. So yeah, it was, to be honest, I wasn't surprised by this team. I think this is the 3rd game now. I think he started with this side back to back. And I think as Arsenal fans, I think that's what we want. We want a team, consistently kind of picking itself. Obviously, given the amount of games we're going to have, there's going to be rotation. That's inevitable. Because we played Leeds, we've got Sunderland tomorrow, and then we've got another game on Sunday. So the rotation is going to happen. But yeah, when the team came out, I was really, really happy. Ramsdale on the back 4, they picked themselves now. Obviously, Partey in the middle. I know a lot of people have kind of criticised him in terms of his performances, and some people have even called for him to be dropped. I'm not really in that camp at the moment. I don't think he's come to Arsenal and lived up to what we expected, but I feel like Partey. I feel like if Partey's going to find form, he has to be in the team. I think if we drop him, I can't really see him. If we drop him for a lengthy period of time, I can't see his career picking up, and I can honestly see him leaving. So for me, I want him to be part of our future. So I'm happy to have him in the team. Not too thrilled at the fact that obviously, you know, number 34 Xhaka is in there. I would personally prefer, you know, to see a bit more Sambi, to even possibly give a chance to Ainsley. But you know what? Arteta, he seems to be Arteta's man. And you know what? While we're winning games and we're putting in good performances, I'm not going to massively criticize the selection too much, because I just think, you know, as fans, we can sometimes just have a reason to be miserable. And to be honest, I don't really know how you can be miserable after a 4-1 win. So, you know, Xhaka was in there in the middle. Obviously, Odegaard, he seems to have found some form, which is fantastic. So he kept his place. And then obviously the front three of Martinelli, who at the moment is undroppable. You got Saka on the right, you know, doing what Saka does on the right. And then obviously Laka in the middle due to Aubameyang's absence. So, yeah, I was pretty happy with the team. How did you feel about it when the team came out?
Obviously, I was a bit gutted there was no Sambi, but he has COVID, so it's better for him to be at home than run the team, because I really don't want football cancelled. I can't do it. I can't do it. So, Sambi being at home, obviously my preferred choice would be Maitland-Niles or El Sideways. So anybody who hasn't watched our channel before, that is El Nene. So I'd rather have them two ahead of him. I mean, in the last at West Ham, he gave away so many balls, and all he ever does is he doesn't look up, and he just gives it to Kieran Tierney. Like, you can't rely on Kieran Tierney to do it all the time. Yeah, I mean, I know he's crossing suddenly come back on form a bit, but if you look back at this season, it hasn't exactly been great. His crosses have been great, but they haven't been accurate, and I think that's what's been the problem.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But yeah, no, it has. I was happy with it. It's consistency, and you can see the team actually bonding and building those relationships that they need to, especially with that back five. So, it's so we're going to move on to the first incident, which was an absolute sitter for one of our senior players, and also one player I hate to absolutely criticize. We all hate it, but it has to be done today. So in the 3rd minute, Odegaard had a load of space to pass over to Lacazette. Lacazette should have tidied it away. And then, obviously, Meslier made the save, but the ball fell to Bukayo Saka, and he sent the shot wide on an open goal. Is this something that he should be putting away? This is something I do pick on Aubameyang for, because of his experience, but you can see the look on his face. Like, he should have tidied that away.
Yeah, you know what? Well, first of all, it was just one example of what a great game Odegaard had. You know, he was able to pick up the ball, and to be fair, Leeds weren't great defensively, and they weren't great in kind of just like, you know, marking him, because every time Odegaard had the ball at his feet, he seemed to find pockets of space, and his passing range was on point against Leeds. So he picked out Lacazette, and I thought Lacazette, you know, took the ball very well. You know, his first touch was good, and he lined himself up, and he should have hit the back of the net. Guaranteed, he should have hit the back of the net. Decent save, a low drive, decent save. Obviously, it fell to Saka, and yeah, it seemed like it was easier to score than it was to miss, but you know, he put it wide. It is one thing, you know, it's something that I did criticize Saka. I criticized Smith Rowe of the same thing last season, you know, and sometimes, like you say, we don't really like to criticize them because they are young, their game is still developing, and for a young kind of attacking offensive player, sometimes scoring goals is one of the last things that they actually get really good at. So, you know, there have been enough situations where, you know, the likes of Saka have not been as clinical as we would have liked. But yeah, we should at that point we should have been 1-0 up. And you do, you know, when you're watching the game and you see how Arsenal play, and in some games we've had very few chances in terms of creation. You just think to yourself, you can't afford at this level to miss a chance like that. So yeah, when that chance went wide, obviously the save from Laka and then the chance going wide from Saka, yeah, I was gutted because I thought that's exactly what we needed. You know, a nice early goal. Leeds had just been, you know, slapped by Liverpool 7-0 in the previous match. So had we scored at that point, you know, it would have been really kind of backs against the walls. So yeah, it wasn't. Let's just say it wasn't the best bit of execution when it comes to finishing in front of goal.
No, definitely not. And like, I know I'm very vocal about playing Saka on the right because that's where he scores more, and he does. He's got, I believe he's got a total of 3 goals now. He's tied in 3 places from 11 goal scorers that we've got, and I think he's 7th at the moment overall. Which for him is not too bad, especially coming back from the Euros and finding his feet again after everything that's happened.
Yeah, it's been
I think
pretty
he's actually doing all right. Yeah, no, he's full on, but. I think I've told you before when we were at the Wimbledon game, both Smith Rowe, both Saka were sitting in front of me on the sidelines as they were playing Wimbledon, and you could see they just wanted to be on the pitch. They didn't want to be on the side. They just wanted to play ball and do what they do best. But it wasn't long before the shots. Oh, sorry guys, before the shots came in. I mean, I think it was about maybe 6 or 7. And then on the 16th minute, Martinelli's goal, the record scoring goal came through. He broke the deadlock just like he did at West Ham. It was a more clinical finish, high into the top corner, away from Meslier. But the real play all started with Saka. I mean, Saka was on the right and Dallas was dawdling. And he lost the ball to him. Running forward, he laid off the ball to Lacazette, who had the tenacity to regain the possession before Martinelli races onto the loose ball to blast it to left off to the keeper. All right, for Dallas, he's an experienced fullback. He's a converted winger. Do you think he should have known better when knowing that B's on behind him, on his ankles? Bearing in mind, Dallas is 30 now. Do you think he should have known better?
It's difficult because like Leeds are having a rough season, and I agree he should know better. He's experienced enough to know how to handle that situation better during the game. But the problem is I know this is something that, you know, we've kind of spoken about before. It's about confidence. You know, when a team is, you know, when Leeds were flying last season and scoring, you know, goal after goal in thriller after thriller of games, you know, they were defending somewhat better. You know, defensively, Leeds have never been great. Even last year, you know, when they were winning games, they were outscoring sides, you know, 3-2s, 4-3s. So defensively, they've always been suspect. They're always going to give you an opportunity. So yeah, and I think right now, I think the reason why it's costing them is because yet again this season they are poor defensively, but going forward they look a lot less toothless with Bamford out of the side. But yeah, it was decent play for Saka. You know, obviously he missed that chance, but you know the amazing thing about Saka is he doesn't let anything faze him. You know, like even when, you know, some players, you know, you miss that chance, your head can drop, confidence can be low, and then it could somewhat affect your game. But you know, straight back up, you know, he plays what looked to be like a nice, decent little 1-2. Obviously, we kind of lost possession, but that's one thing I've got to say about Laka. And I think that's what a lot of Arsenal fans prefer Laka now in the side than Aubameyang, is that he never gives up a loose ball. You know, he's always at somebody's ankles. He's always trying to win the ball back. He's won so many penalties from just trying to get a loose ball in the box. He seems to get his foot, you know, to the ball first. He seems to be really, really good at that. And then obviously it broke to Martinelli and it was an emphatic finish. It was a really, really good finish. It was a finish of a confident player. And again, you know, we go back to that word confidence. Confidence makes such a big difference. If a player is lacking in confidence, you know, it affects, you know, so many different aspects of the game. But yeah, he absolutely belted that in the top corner. And yeah, after the initial kind of early miss, that's exactly what we needed, you know. And yeah, he's on absolute fire right now. But yeah, what did you make of the goal yourself?
Do you know what? I tweeted a video earlier in the week that I saw, and it was obviously a Martinelli against Leeds goal up at Leeds. And obviously it was, with this person that created this video, it was combined with an Henry goal. and his favourite goal for it, which was against Leeds in 2012 when he returned.
Yeah.
And I sat there and thought, right, he's scoring this weekend. He's scoring this weekend. I knew it. And I thought to myself, I'm not going to bring him into my fantasy football. And what does he do? Doesn't score once, but scores twice.
I know. I was actually really tempted to bring him in, and I didn't, and I really regretted it.
Yeah, I mean, 30, literally 16 minutes later, square on the head. I've actually got to praise 34 here, so please hold your breath, everybody. 34 actually looked up. He looked up, times the pass perfectly for Martinelli, who kept his balance despite the presence of Drimmer. I probably said his name wrong. Dink his effort and casually dinks it over Meslier and into the net. I mean, 2-0 in 32 minutes. I mean, if that goal could have gone either way, it could have been a penalty if Drimmer literally did tackle him, or it could have been a sending off. But instead, Martinelli, he stuck it in the back of the net. And it was a blinding goal. At that point, the ball just hit the back of the net and my internet cut. So I was not impressed. But I was one very happy gooner. How did you feel when that went in, G?
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was good play. And you know, we are at times, you know, Xhaka's biggest critics sometimes on this channel. We're not too fond of him. But yeah, you know, credit where credit's due. You know, he had the ball at his feet. He looked up, he picked out, you know, an almost inch perfect pass to Martinelli, which is what we want from our players, you know, Xhaka and all. We want them to play well, and we'll definitely credit them when they do. So, but yeah, Martinelli picked up the ball. I wasn't too sure what it was like in terms of his first touch and stuff, because it all happened really quickly. I thought he had somewhat fumbled the ball with his first touch, but as you said, he was under severe pressure. And you know, other players in other situations probably would have gone down as soon as they had felt the touch. But I just think it kind of sums up the player Martinelli is. You know, he was very much determined. You know, he wanted to score. He was very much determined to kind of stay on his feet. And it might be that, you know, he's young, he's still raw. You know, sometimes when they become more of a kind of seasoned professional, you know, the slightest touch, you know, they're looking for that red card, they're looking for that penalty. Whereas for him, he's just one-track mind. You know, he just wants to get on the score sheet. And you know, we got to recommend, you know, we got to commend that, because that's what we want from all players, you know, to just play the game honestly. If you can stay on your feet, stay on your feet. You know, that's what we want. So yeah, it was a really good finish, and you know, under such pressure from the defender, and to keep your composure, keep control of the ball, and then to slot it in the way he did. Again, I come back to that same thing: confidence. You know, him being in the side and finally getting, because you know, we've all criticised Arteta a lot about Martinelli's absence from the team. Obviously, he was in the team. He went on a great scoring run. And then he had that injury, and then for whatever reason we couldn't really understand why he wasn't getting minutes, but now he's in the team, he's getting the minutes, and you can see that, you know, just from the two finishes that he had, you know, his confidence is absolutely booming, because they were both fantastic finishes for different reasons. But yeah, 2-0 up is exactly what the doctor ordered, and I thought at that point, you know, Leeds were on the ropes, to be honest. I think the match was pretty much finished from 2-0, in my opinion. But I really wanted us to kind of go for the jugular, because too often this season, you know, we've scored one and then we kind of sat back. You know, we went for it. We scored the second, and we just seemed like we were just so much more up for it. But what Martinelli summed up in that move was, you know, he's making the runs. You know, he wants to get on the score sheet, and without digging Aubameyang too much, you know, we just look such a more threatening team going forward when you have, you know, a player that is, you know, willing to make those runs. And really and truly, I would say he's just so much more hungry to actually play football. I somewhat question Aubameyang's, you know, kind of appetite for the game, you know, his kind of enthusiasm. But with Martinelli, he's got an abundance of that. So yeah, two goals in the game, 2-0 up. Happy days, man. I was absolutely thrilled.
Yeah, I think you're trying to avoid the word with Aubameyang. Aubameyang is lazy. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to cut any noises. He's lazy. And lazy. I've always absolutely adored Martinelli's energy.
Yeah.
It's just so infectious. He's such a joy to watch. But it is also a case of waiting for Arteta to actually do what he needs to do. And we've always been a critic of that because he takes his time. He knows when and where to play his players. I mean, we haven't seen Pepe much recently. And he's like, if he's not working hard enough, fair enough. I'd rather watch Martinelli on that pitch and have Saka on the right. End of story.
Definitely.
Especially with Smith Rowe coming back from injury.
Definitely. Should we go through some of these comments quick?
Yep, sure.
Just because they're kind of building up here. So we've got Ben. Evening, Ben. Martinelli looks really sharp. Credit to Arteta for not rushing him back. Let's hope no niggles anytime soon. Going to be a top player, yeah. And that's what I mean. It's like, we all sit down here. We all think like, we should be Arsenal manager and we know what's best. But you know what? Sometimes we just got to let the professionals do their job. So yeah, thank you for that comment, Ben. Tom, good evening, Tom. Evening all. I'm here loitering away in the background, no problem. Good to have you as always. Riddy Saka, I saw you said even earlier. I don't know if that's a name I'm too familiar with. Have you seen that name?
Riddy has been tuning into the ladies' shows.
Excellent, fantastic.
And now Riddy's come over to the main shows, which is great to see.
Fantastic.
I believe he also watched Mr. Arsenal podcast when I was on.
Nice.
Well,
welcome.
I'm familiar with the name.
Welcome. The second finish was even more difficult. Yeah, and it was. It really, really was. Good evening, Mike. Evening, G and Lottie. Evening, Keith. Hi, guys. Come on, you Gunners, for real. Cannon FC, I know you popped a little evening earlier. G Talks Black Cake and Sorrel for Christmas. Mike, Martinelli's difficult. Different class. We knew that he could do after Chelsea. And I think the fact now Aubameyang is out of the picture, he's thriving. Definitely. So, yeah.
No, I couldn't agree with Mike more. I mean, he's now getting the minutes, getting the opportunity, and it's great. And I absolutely love it. Unfortunately, this goal was slightly overshadowed, which really irritated me. From home, obviously, the cameras went down onto Rob Holding, who'd actually left the subs bench and gone over to John Brooks, I should say, with an allegation of racial abuse towards the Arsenal bench. I haven't heard much more on this, G, unfortunately. But from what I can see on Twitter, people are saying, like, be an ally, like Rob Holding has been. Are you surprised that the Leeds fans behind that bench for that behaviour at 2-0 down? I know it's not all Leeds fans, but it's that certain section I'm looking at right now.
You know what? I'm not surprised because, we know racism exists. And, racism within... football grounds around the world, it's present, and I honestly, without sounding negative, I don't believe we're ever gonna get to a stage when racism doesn't exist, because there will always be a minority that dislike another group for whatever reason, whether that be their age, their sex, their gender, their race, their religion. There will always be people like this in society. But what we can do as individuals is help eradicate it and help, prevent it from happening. And the best way we do that is by standing united against it, and actually, supporting one another. So, what Rob Holding did is very commendable. It's something that, lots of fans, lots of staff, lots of players, coaching, whoever they are at a ground, if it's something you see, if it's something you hear, it's something you should report. I'm not necessarily encouraging somebody to always stand up to it, because sometimes, the person doing it can be quite intimidating. Sometimes you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you want to put your life or your health at risk. So I completely understand sometimes people, might be somewhat silent on it. That's not to say you agree with it, but sometimes that's just kind of protecting yourself in that environment. And I completely get that. But yeah, what Rob Holding did is very, very commendable. I know I saw a clip of Ian Wright actually commenting on it and just saying, that's what we need. We need, regardless of whether the abuse is, against you or whether or not you can relate to that situation or not, it's about being an ally, to a movement that needs to bring about change. So what he did was fantastic. It's something that, we can only hope, will catch on. and that people, you know, don't kind of continue to just ignore these things, and that, you know, we live in a society where, yes, racism exists, but we also live in a society where we have certain processes and protocols where if something like that does happen, we can actually report it. Not always things are done. Not always, you know, action is taken. Sometimes it can even be quite hard to prove that it took place. But nevertheless, it doesn't stop you actually, you know, trying to do the right thing. And I think that's what Rob Holding did. You know, in that situation, he did the right thing. So yeah, very commendable from him. And let's just hope that, you know, that becomes the norm. You know, the norm becomes, you know, for fans, staff, coaches, players to report these things rather than kind of just ignoring it or turning a blind eye. I'm not surprised it happened. It's disappointing that, you know, something like that is still happening in, you know, Premier League football grounds in the year 2021. But like I said, I don't envision it never ever not happening. But having said that, if it does happen, you know, we know what to do, you know, as a football community, you know, because we're all in it together, regardless of our race, you know, gender, sexuality, etc. You know, we're all in it together. We're all human beings. So if we ever, you know, kind of witness somebody or a particular group being, you know, insulted or abused based on what makes them different to somebody else, we should definitely act. So yeah, hats off to Rob Holding.
No, definitely. I completely agree. I mean, I'm just going to quickly pull up a comment from Mike, which I think is very interesting. Weird thing, which is Ross mentioned to me, is the same fans would have been cheering and supporting for Rafinha.
Exactly. And this is the thing.
That's just, it's something that is like you take a step back and think like, whoa. How can people Leeds have had
some great black players in the past.
No, exactly.
You know, likes of Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank played for Leeds. You know, the great Tony Yeboah, the Ghanaian striker. JJ, no, it wasn't JJ. JJ played for Bolton. But yeah, they've had some great black players over the years. But like I said, you know, it's not all Leeds fans. It is a minority, but it's exactly what Mike said. You know, the same players that are going to abuse Arsenal's black players are the same players that are going to cheer for Rafinha. But for me, it just emphasizes how stupid these people are. You know, they're completely stupid. You know, they'll celebrate the goal of a player from an ethnic minority, and then, you know, in 2 seconds later they'll racially abuse, you know, a similar player for the opposition team. So it just shows you just how stupid these people are.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think with that mentality as well, we've all heard about that player, the fan that got banned for life from I can't remember the ground. It's gone from my head now. But we all know the fan that got banned and put in prison for like 42 days for racial abuse.
Yeah, I can't remember the ground now or the teams involved, but yeah, I heard about it. But I think it might have been lower league, actually.
Yeah, it was a lower league team. It wasn't one of the big clubs, otherwise it would have been everywhere. Yeah. But I do feel that if these fans, obviously they're going to be cool, there's going to be cameras and everything, but do you think Leeds should hand them all, however many people it is, a lifetime ban from being in that ground?
Yeah. I think sometimes I believe, like, I do understand the way that the judiciary system works in this country. And a lot of the time, sometimes when the kind of law, the judiciary system fail to prosecute, it's because of a lack of evidence. Because sometimes they can't just prosecute based on one person's word against another. Sometimes it's not enough in the court of law. But I think, you know, if there's enough evidence to prove that, you know, this one fan or group of fans were responsible for racially abusing, you know, an Arsenal member of staff or player or whoever it was, definitely. I do believe in people. You know, I do believe people can change. I do believe people deserve second chances. However, I think if we really want to, you know, make, you know, football grounds a safe haven for everybody, and when I say everybody, I mean all ages, all sexes, all genders, all races, all religions, then anytime there is an example of, you know, abuse against a particular group, we need to treat it with the highest, you know, strictness in terms of punishment. And if that means banning fans for life, from attending that ground, then absolutely so be it. Or at the bare minimum, you know, they should have to be educated. They should have to take like a racial awareness course where they have to attend, and you know, they have to, you know, somewhat try and re-educate themselves to prove you know, that they are worthy for, you know, to enter a football ground. So I you know, I'm on both sides. I think it's really important that we punish them because we have to send a strong message. At the same time, we do also have to try and educate people as well, because if you ban somebody from a football ground, it doesn't actually work towards, you know, making that person a better person. You know, it stops them from racially abusing somebody in the football stadium, but it doesn't stop them from hanging outside the ground and doing it, you know, as soon as they see a fan, you know, from a different race walk past them. So sometimes I do agree. I think it needs to be a punishment. It needs to be strict, but I think there needs to be more than just a ban or prison sentence, because ultimately, you know, as stupid as these people are, and maybe, you know, some might say, you know, they don't deserve help, but they need help to some extent. They need their eyes opening. They need re-educating. And some people might say, well, you know what? Some people won't learn. Well, we've got to try. You know, we've got to try. So, you know, I've been on the end of racial abuse. It's not nice. It's not pretty. But, you know, I don't believe in just punishment. I think there needs to be some kind of punishment backed up with education. But yeah, if those guys get a lifelong ban, then look, I'll give it a clap, because I think that's exactly the type of, you know, toughness, you know, we need to be throwing at any form of abuse at any football ground.
Yeah, no, completely agree with you. G, should we have a look at the comments before we move on to?
Yeah, no problem. I'm going to go a little bit back, and I'm going to start with Ridi Sakar again. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right. Apologize if I'm not. Leeds fans do have a reputation for such behavior, mind you. I'm not too familiar with the history of Leeds fans. I know it's an issue.
It's
across
certain sections. It's not all of them.
Yeah,
it's certain sections. It's a bit like our club with certain
I'm not
fans.
too sure about Leeds in particular, but yeah, it's definitely a problem in football, you know, just in general. And having said that, I think there's been a lot of progress in the Premier League when you compare it to other European leagues. So, you know, there is progress, but obviously there's still a lot of work to be done. Mike's not surprised when it comes to Leeds at all. We know what their fans are about. If it was going to happen anywhere, it was always going to happen there. So yes, obviously from the comments, you know, there seems to be a history of it with regards to Leeds. That I have to admit, I'm not massively familiar with. Mike, weird thing which Russ mentioned to me is the same fans would have been cheering. Oh yeah, we read that comment.
Yeah, I did pull that one up earlier, G.
Yeah, and it's true. Bang on. Absolutely brilliant comment. Mike, again, 100% have to commend Rob for what he did, but I think more needs to be done within the stadiums to stamp it out, including other fans in the section. And yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, as fans, we definitely need to be united against it. However, I do sometimes understand why fans don't say something, because I just feel like in a certain situation, you know, you might be somewhat outnumbered. You know, you might feel intimidated. And I can't criticize somebody for, you know, not necessarily reacting to something because they feel like they could potentially be attacked or anything. But you're right, Mike. If the rest of the stadium united against it, then these people that were doing it wouldn't have a prayer, would they? So yeah, I do agree with what you're saying. No, did you want to touch on?
Yeah, no, I mean, I've got to hold my hands up and say I was one of those people. I mean, at the Norwich game at home, I was in block 92, and I said something to the guys behind me that Mike Dean was on VAR, and they turned around and said, "Oh, she don't know what she's talking about." I've obviously reported to the Stewart. They got their match bans, and do you know what? I wasn't going to say anything, but because I had put it on Twitter, one of the stewards that was there actually picked it up, and they actually did something about it. So this next comment, I can't recommend it more.
Yeah, and thank you for highlighting it, Tom. So at the Emirates, you can text race plus details of the incident along with your seat number to 67777. This includes homophobic abuse, etc., and the stewards will come and investigate. Thank you for pointing that out. And it's really, really good that, our club are making it very simple and very accessible to report these incidents.
That announcement is at start of game, half time, and at the end.
Yeah.
So literally, I believe it's a free text as well.
Yeah,
so we won't get charged for it.
That's good.
We need to be speaking out about it for sure.
Definitely. Ben here again. Horrible set of fans. Saka got stick as well for the penalty miss. Overall, the atmosphere by them was great throughout the game. These people giving them a bad name aren't football fans. Agreed.
Yes.
And for me, it's always the minority, particularly in English football grounds. In the Premier League, it's definitely a minority and it's not a majority. Russ, evening Russ. And Keith here. Good evening, Keith. Don't totally agree with G. Education is the key. Yeah, it really is. We can't just punish. We've got to educate as well.
Oh, I'm going to move on to my favourite next bit. We actually got to see some of that lovely Arteta ball from Southampton. So, obviously, Saka scores. But I'm going to rewind it a little bit and take you back to where it really started, where Ramsdale made a 50-yard pass over to Tomiyasu, who found Odegaard on the inside, and he opens up his body to play it through ball to Saka, and Koch, whatever his name is, he was out of position, and he literally could not get back to cover him, and it got to the point where Saka was literally bullying Dramere and Cleach. He used Odegaard as a decoy, and they both went to ground, and then sends them both down to the ground, so he can fire a low ball into the back of the net. I know I criticised him earlier in the show, but for me, he missed an open goal, but this was just absolutely cruel from him. It was actually cruel. Through all this at the same time as well, you've got Lacazette, who was just pulling both the centre-backs all over the shop. And it was like watching an under-9s team trying to defend. I know it sounds really bad, but I expect it from kids, not from a Premier League team. Do you think that Leeds were defending properly, or were they just after to mark Lacazette? Because there was so much spacing leading up to this goal. Yeah,
defensively, Leeds are all over the place. They really, really are all over the place. And that's why probably for the first time this season, I actually predicted 4-0. I don't think I've predicted anything more than a 2-0 or a 2-1 this season. But when I saw them, and don't get me wrong, Liverpool are in a league of their own at times. They've had their odd dodgy result, but when Liverpool are on song, they are unplayable. But the way they just ran through Leeds, I thought to myself, and obviously looking at Leeds' league position, looking at the way they've lost games, I thought to myself, if we can't get a couple against this team, then we got serious issues up front. And I know we're by no means the finished article up front, but I really did fancy our chances after the couple of performances we put together. So, but yeah, you know what? You can only beat what's in front of you in terms of a team. If we were sitting here and we drew that game or we lost that game, we'd be the first to criticize the lads. But we can only beat what's in front of us. And yes, it was a poor defensive lead side, but ultimately we put them to the sword. They were poor defensively and we took advantage of that, and we scored 4 goals, and we probably could have scored more. So we can't complain, and I'm not going to complain. I hope every single team in the Premier League defended as bad as Leeds, and happy days for me. But yeah, so it's all good. Yeah, Leeds were poor defensively. There was space all over the gaff. There literally was. And every time, because if you actually look at the stats of the game, it was pretty even when it came to possession. And it was pretty even when it came to the number of passes between both sides. I think Leeds actually made more passes in the 90 than we did. But I think we had maybe 1% or 2 more. But that just shows you that it was when we had the ball. It was the players that we had and what we did with the ball. That was the big difference. They kept the ball equally as amount as we did, but they just didn't have the players to do much with it. And that's what we've criticised our team for in the past, is it's keep ball, but you're not doing anything with it. So I'm not going to sit here and complain, that we kept the ball and we did nothing with it. We did something with it. We scored 4 goals. We could have scored more. So no, it was a good performance. Leeds were bad defensively. They've been bad this season, but that's not our fault. We did our job. We scored 4 goals. So yeah, no, I'm happy.
No, definitely. I mean, another good thing for the first time this season, VAR went our way.
Yeah.
And to my surprise, with Michael,
but
with Michael Oliver there, you know our track record with him as a referee.
Yeah.
Stephen highlights the record with Michael Oliver around, but this season, I think with the VAR, especially when we've got Sean Massey-Ellis over there, I think she's the balancing key to all this.
Yeah.
So this was the replay, obviously the VAR shots they were showing on the screen, and they were looking for a possible offside from Odegaard, but they obviously ruled it is not offside, which was brilliant. I mean, how are you feeling when we finally got a VAR decision that went our way?
Yeah, it's good, you know. It's like it's one of those things where it's like I was a massive advocate for VAR, you know. When it was introduced, I was behind it. I was all for it. I wanted it to be introduced to the Premier League because I'd seen it work in international competitions. I've seen it work abroad. So I was in support of it. Obviously, it came to the Premier League, and I've not been in support of it ever since because it just seems to literally like just screw us over every single week. Last season was awful. I felt like we spoke about VAR more last season than we actually did speak about the games. But it's been a bit more, I wouldn't necessarily say one-sided, but I think it's been a bit more even this season in that, you know, we've had some real shockers against us, but we've also had some decent VAR shouts go our way. So it feels like it's been somewhat more balanced. It's not great, but it's a bit better than it was last year. But yeah, no, it was nice. It was nice for VAR to actually do what it's supposed to, which is get a footballing decision right for once. So yeah, I was happy. I was happy.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think I was as well. I mean, halftime arrived, and obviously the stats were coming through. We had 11 shots on target, which is the most since the 2003-2004 season.
Yeah.
In the first opening 45 minutes by a single side. Is it safe to say Leeds have been peppered by halftime?
Yeah.
Or am I counting my chickens here?
Yeah. No, it is safe. It was like I said, it's, you know, like I say, as Arsenal fans, we've often criticised our team and we've said, you know what, we got the ball and we don't do nothing with it, or we don't take enough shots on goal. At the end of the day, the more you shoot, the more chance you have of scoring a goal. It's you know, it's not rocket science. So yeah, you know, that's what we want. You know, we're fed up of sitting here, you know, show after show talking about, you know, having one shot on goal in 90 minutes or two shots on goal, because unless you're absolutely phenomenally clinical, you know, you need to score, you need to take, you know, more than one or two shots on goal in a game to even have a chance of scoring because of the quality of defending and goalkeeping, you know, in the league. So yeah, like 11 shots on goal at halftime, you know, happy days, you can't complain. You know, maybe, you know, we could have been maybe one or two more goals up, but you know, 2-0 halftime, you know, you're not going to complain with that, are you?
No, definitely not. Sorry, I've just got to bring this one up. I would say that's peacocks, Jamie. Brilliant. They are the peacocks.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Before we move on to the next one, let's just quickly whip through these comments. There's like loads coming in.
Yeah. Do you want me to rip through them quick?
Yeah, if you can. I don't know where you left off. Sorry, Jay.
Yeah, this is where we left off. So, Ridi Sakar again. Was the ref asking our players not to celebrate in front of their fans for that reason? And I believe you're referring to just the kind of general abuse that the Leeds fans were dishing out. And I believe it was. I know Mike said here that pass from Ramsdale was pass of the season. You know, he's added so much to our game in terms of, you know, that difference from going from defense to attack in such a short space of time and so quickly, it's made a huge difference. And it's like the players know he can do it. They've got confidence that he can do it, so they're ready for it, you know. So yeah, Ramsdale is just phenomenal. He really, really is. His distribution's quality. And yeah, that's Mike just confirming to Ridi Sakar that it was. And I know Keith here also saying, yes, exactly for that reason, Ridi. Wrong, isn't it? Yeah, so basically the ref was advising the Arsenal players to basically not celebrate in front of the Leeds fans and so forth. But yeah, it's, you know, it's not great. It's not a great situation to be in. But like I said, it's a situation that we're in, you know, in some of these Premier League grounds. Mike Mike, that's baffling in today's day and age, and it's sad as well that players can't celebrate goals freely. It is, and let's just hope that obviously those who are responsible for it get prosecuted.
Gee, I'm going to come back onto this one. Coming back to this, Mike, I promise.
No worries. So we'll come back to this one. I guess we'll come back to this one as well.
Yeah.
Mike here, VAR is the most inconsistent ruling. Kane doesn't get sent off, but Robertson does. 34 doesn't get sent off or booked. Yeah, it does for Leeds for the same thing. Yeah, and this is the thing. The consistency of VAR is just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And I know we're going to talk a little bit about probably the Xhaka thing. But yeah, even the Kane one, that was like a leg breaker. I don't know how.
No, it should have been a straight red.
I don't know how he never
I had the debate with one of the Tottenham girls, Holly Agenbar.
Yeah.
And we had sort of had a conversation about it, and she sent me the picture of the Robertson tackle as well.
Yeah.
And I told her, I said, they should both be reds. You should both be down to 10 men. End of story. As far as I'm concerned. Then she said to me, but it's not the same. But it's exactly the same thing. Straight in with the studs.
Definitely.
Studs up. If that was 34 down the tunnel, he'd be down the tunnel laughing.
Yeah.
Because he's got more time
100%.
off before Christmas.
100%.
So, and that's the last thing we want. But so half time came and went. With not 3 minutes in, 34 stamps on Rafinha. What a lucky boy, especially after Michael Oliver again says no foul. Mm-hmm. Did he really get away with this, G? I mean,
I don't know how, but he did, because we've said on our shows before that Xhaka just has to breathe on somebody heavy, and he gets a red card. So I don't know. I honestly can't explain this one, and I can't defend the challenge. It wasn't a nice challenge. It was reckless. I wouldn't necessarily say it was deliberate. And I don't believe there was any intention to injure or intention to do any of that. But at the same time, I don't even think he was even looking when he made the challenge.
Doesn't look anywhere, does he?
Yeah, that's
sorry.
And that doesn't excuse the challenge. It's a bad challenge. It's a late challenge. When I saw that challenge happen, I thought, yeah, guaranteed that's a red card. He's off, particularly because it's Xhaka. And that could have been a real turning point in this game. 2-0 up. We're flying, but as we know with Arsenal, down to 10 men, it could have somewhat made us go maybe defensively. Leeds could have got a goal, and there's a lot of if, buts, and maybes. Had that decision gone against us, and it probably should have gone against us. So, in my opinion, I don't know what the chat feel. I don't know what your opinion is. I'd be happy to know what it is. But for me, I think Xhaka and Arsenal, I think we were very fortunate to finish the game with 11 men on the pitch.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's just that is a classic 34 stunt. Reckless, doesn't think. But as Stephen has been saying lately, we've been playing with 10 men anyway. But I can't actually say that about this game. I can't.
Yeah.
Especially after the second Martinelli goal, he actually looked up and actually made a great pass. So.
You know what was so surprising though about that decision as well is that I'm not saying the player. I think it was Rafinha, wasn't it? I'm not saying the player made a meal of it because it was a late challenge, but he felt it and he made sure. I'm not saying he was play acting, but he made sure the world knew he felt it as well. So it's not like he was one of those where he kind of shook it off and just kind of got on with it. He rolled on the pitch, etc. And whatever. So when I saw the actual challenge and I saw the reaction of the player, I was like, that's a guaranteed red card, like without a doubt. But yeah, somehow he survived and somehow we did. And I to this day, I don't really know why or how that didn't go against us.
Do you know what? I just think he's a lucky boy.
Yeah, very lucky.
For that, because I know if he got sent off, we would be absolutely raging tonight. Definitely. Well, I would have been anyway, at least.
Yeah.
But
Mike says here, very, very lucky. I thought it was a red all day. Yeah, I completely agree. Agree. And Cannon FC, Neil says, with VAR, they need to remove it. It was intent or not. If it's dangerous, it's dangerous. Yeah, and that's what I think. Like I don't think he meant to do it at all. I really don't. I wouldn't say he's a malicious player or that was a malicious challenge. But as you know, as Cannon FC said, it was dangerous. So it's dangerous and it should be a red card. And then Mike says,
he has the reputation for it. He has the reputation for it, and I'm at that point where something like this happens. I just expect a red. I just don't
yellow. That's what's crazy. He didn't even get a yellow.
Exactly. I just expect stupid, reckless things like that. I just expect a card for him. Just at the point where I'm like, there's no way, no one's not going to give him a card. But I was proven wrong, which I was quite pleased about.
Yeah.
But the next sort of 30 minutes or so, Leeds were coming at us constantly as like we kind of got a bit unsettled as we went through, and then a nice ball from Cleach came on the inside for the teenager Goldhart, and White was a bit rash and basically completely wiped him out in the box.
Yeah.
Which was a simple check for Mariner.
Yeah.
And as we can see, Raphinha got a little bit heated. How careless was that from White to give that away?
Yeah, it wasn't a great challenge. It wasn't a great challenge. And I think had the game been more finely balanced, I think this would probably be a bigger talking point. Because it was a poor challenge. It was late. And when I saw it go in, I thought Stonewall penalty, even in real time. I didn't need a replay. I didn't need VAR. I just thought pen all day. And obviously when I saw the replay and I saw, etc., I knew it was going to be a penalty. But yeah, I think, in the end, it turned out to be, a somewhat convincing win. But I think, when you actually look at, and that's the thing with these games, Arsenal did somewhat kind of go into their shell a bit, or Leeds had to get better throughout the 90 because they'd been pretty poor up until this point. And that's going to happen in the Premier League because you're playing against quality players. But, had Xhaka got sent off, you can see the penalty. Mm-hmm. We could have been talking about a very, very different game. If certain things had gone against us. But yeah, in terms of Ben White, look, defenders, it happens. The name of the game is defending. Sometimes you read the game and, you kind of misread it and you make a late challenge. But hopefully he just, he doesn't seem like a player that it has a lot of rush challenges in him. He tends to kind of stay on his feet. He tends to read the game well. So I was a bit surprised that he kind of slid in that situation. But I guess for him, it was almost like a last-ditch tackle to prevent Leeds from scoring. But yeah, it wasn't a great challenge. And for me, it was a penalty all day.
Oh, no, definitely. I completely agree. Obviously, at this point, I'm running on highlights here. So didn't see any of that after that. Obviously, the penalty went in. Raphinha sent Ramsdale in the wrong direction. And it was 3-1.
Yeah,
very good penalty. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't at this point for me personally. There wasn't a glimmer of hope for Leeds. I mean, we were up for this. We were going to fight for the win.
Yeah,
a little bit reckless from White, but it's not something we see often. So I'm not
it happens.
Moan about it at this point.
Yeah,
but 3 minutes later, Saka comes off my voice. Smith Rowe,
your main man.
I know, and at this point, we need fresh legs. Leeds are getting a bit confident, a little bit, how do I put this, cocky, and the way they're going from. But he was on the pitch for about a total of 6 minutes, and then ESR runs onto an Odegaard pass, confidently blasts it into the back of the net. Elland was so far out of position, he didn't even get a chance to challenge Smith Rowe on this. I mean, he's now the top goal scorer for the club, ahead of Aubameyang. He's got 8 in the Premier League, and he's absolutely flying on an average goal of every 160 minutes. Aubameyang's a minute less, but Aubameyang has had less minutes than Smith Rowe this season per minute. So, I mean, he's even scored more goals than Cristiano Ronaldo, and none of them are penalties.
A lot of Man
United none of them are penalties. And I am absolutely loving Man United Twitter at the moment. They're so rattled by it.
They're so rattled, it's unreal.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely great. I mean, he's now reached his target of between 10 goals and assists as a combination, but 8 of them are goals.
Yeah.
Arteta has openly come out and said he should be scoring 15.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be possible? I'm still
it
backing
can
him for
be.
20, though. I will say
Yeah,
that.
it can be, definitely. You know, he's having one hell of a season. Do you know what I mean? He really is. And I think it's good because, like, you know, it's something that we've needed. It's something that we've wanted. And that's goals from midfield. You know, offensive players, not necessarily our strikers, but it's something that we've lacked for a long time. You know, goals from the wing, goals from wide, you know, goals from our midfields. And, you know, it makes such a difference, you know, being, you know, seeing him in a rich, you know, vein of form in terms of in front of goal, and then Odegaard getting like, you know, 3 and 3 and Saka chipping in. It makes such a difference to a team. Like it just propels a team to another level when you have multiple players in your team that can get on the score sheet. But yeah, it was a delightful pass by Odegaard. And he had an absolutely fantastic game. You know, he might not have got the headlines because he didn't get on the score sheet, but his passing, you know, through the lines, you know, he should have got an assist for Laka and Saka in the first couple of minutes. I think he got an assist for Martinelli and he got assist obviously for ESR. So he could have had a hat trick, if not a quadruple, you know, amount of assists in that game. So yeah, he had a really, really good game. But again, I'll go back to that confidence thing. The way Smith Rowe took that goal oozed confidence. First time, you know, he knew exactly where the goal was. He knew where the goalkeeper was. You know, he read the ball so well. He just glided onto it and just finished it with just you know, it was just a beautiful goal. It really, really was. So yeah, he's got 8 goals. You know what? I can see him easily getting another 7 or 8 between now and the end of the season. I think he'll comfortably get 15 goals and assists, between 15 goals and assists this season. Whether he can hit the 20 mark, he'll have to stay pretty consistent to do that. But you know what? You said it, and
it's goals and assists combined, don't forget.
Yeah, I thought he
goals.
wouldn't get anywhere near it, personally.
He's halfway there, though.
Yeah,
halfway there, including all comps.
I thought he wouldn't get anywhere near it at all, but you know, he's halfway there, so I don't see why not. You know, I don't see why not. I think you know, in terms of this season, you know, sky's the limit for him. But yeah, it's gonna, you know, look, he's having a great season, and I'm here for it. I'm absolutely loving it. So
yeah,
I'm not complaining.
It's a massive improvement, because if we looked at the stats last year, I think if you go back to when El Neni got his first Premier League goal, and I think I turned around and said, yeah, he was offended by the stats. Yeah, the goals from the midfield. We were 3rd from the bottom last season. Yeah. Literally 3 goals from midfield all season. Yes, the season was thrown up in the air, but to have so many goals coming from the midfield now, and the sort of the wingers, it's absolutely brilliant. And I'm absolutely loving it. I mean, they all want to score. Even Thomas Partey is getting shots on target. They're getting saved, but they're on target, and they're not.
He's getting closer. He's getting closer.
Cleared out the stadium. I mean, he's got his header. But we want one off one of his feet. Yeah. That's the problem. Yeah. But we're getting there, and I'm quite enjoying it. But now I'm seeing, obviously, we've seen Sambi starting picking up party tricks as well. Yeah. I mean, even 34's been doing it, and I'm like, please don't tell him to shoot. Don't tell any of them to shoot. Them 3, do not tell them to shoot, because all you hear in the stands, people say shoot, and that he does it, and it's just like, no. We could have gone in a different way, because the defense was so disorganized from whoever we're playing. But yeah, no, it's just nice to have like them goals coming in. We're not relying on the likes of Aubameyang all the time. Yeah. It's an absolute massive difference.
Yeah.
Before I move on, let's just have a quick read of these comments, Stu.
White should have known better. The fact he used to play there, so should know all about the atmosphere at Elland Road and the Leeds fans getting up. Mike again, I did laugh that he tried to con the ref afterwards, though, by fist pumping Ramsdale. Really, Sakar, we should have kept a clean sheet. Yeah, I was desperate for us to keep a clean sheet, because
that would have been nice.
I said 4-0, so I was desperate that we kept. When it was 3-0, I was desperate for us to get another one and actually keep a clean sheet, and I would have.
I wanted us to double it.
I would have got at least one score prediction right this season.
I don't think any of us had. I have.
Well,
we need an update from Stephen.
Yeah,
on
I
that.
definitely
I haven't
have
had
him.
one in a while. I want to know what's going on.
Yeah, Mike says here, Elland was having flashbacks to when the ESR used to do that to him in the youth team, I'm sure. Yeah, it was a beautiful finish. I'm loving the fact that Saka, ESR, Martin and Odegaard are all having a big impact on this side right now, especially as Lacazette hasn't been scoring.
Yeah,
no,
but he's been leading. He's been
Yeah,
leading. I'm not
he is.
complaining. I'm going
He
to
was
come
an
on to that
absolute
in a minute.
nuisance. He was an absolute nuisance for the Leeds defence,
I know.
Saka, Lacazette.
He pulled the centre backs out of place, and it's just
Yeah.
just to make room for Martinelli and
Yeah.
Saka to make them intelligent plays as well as
Yeah,
Odegaard.
he was. He didn't score, but he was a constant nuisance. He was.
Yeah, no, definitely. Definitely.
Mike here says he'll have 10 goals before the start of 22. I fancy him to score a few tomorrow if he's involved.
He deserves to start tomorrow.
Not sure if he will though.
But he's coming back from injury, and Martinelli needs the rest.
Yeah, true. And Gary, good evening. Lottie and G, Martinelli man of the match for sure.
Definitely. The next thing I want to touch on is 88 minutes. Lacazette loses his temper. Kosh pushed Martinelli off the ball, and Lacazette got booked. I mean, you can see how angry he is in this picture. I do apologise for the grainy of it. It saved really small, and I've just zoomed right in on it. But you can see him arguing with Mariner, telling him it should be a yellow card the way that Kosh went about it. I mean, is this what we should be seeing from our captain week in, week out?
You know what? It's like there's a fine...
we don't see this from Aubameyang as well.
This is what I was going to say. There's a fine line between passion and ill discipline on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but I have to be honest, like it's like a breath of fresh air, you know, seeing my captain get somewhat animated and defending his players, because for the last however many months, I've just seen a captain who just basically, you know, hides away from situations like this. Captains on the pitch in the Premier League or in any league in the world, you get somewhat more of a leeway than other players because you're the captain. The ref tends to kind of not listen to, but you tend to be the source of communication. You know, sometimes even when the rest of the team, you know, are told to shut up and move away or whatever it is, you know, sometimes as a captain, you're the person that will kind of put across, you know, what's gone on or what you've seen, etc. And, you know, that sometimes can spill over, you know, and it's a passionate sport. You know, we've all played it, we all watch it, we all love it, you know, and we get passionate, and that's just from sitting in our sitting rooms on the sofa or sitting in the stadium. So I don't blame Lacazette for getting passionate. I don't blame him for defending Martinelli. I think like I said, I quite enjoyed him getting animated because I think for so long we've been used to, you know, Aubameyang with the captaincy and, you know, not very much rouse him, not very much gets him going. You know, the most animated you will see Aubameyang on the pitch is when he scores goals. But in terms of like anger, in terms of like passion, or anything like that, he's more of a calming influence than anything. And that's why I said there's a thin line between kind of passion and ill discipline. Obviously, Laka, you know, probably remonstrated too much. He got booked. But for me, he didn't lose control. Like, yes, he was passionate. Yeah, he showed, you know, a bit of aggression. He was a bit assertive, but he didn't lose complete control. So yeah, I'm all for it. As long as the balance right, and you're not getting yourself in a situation where you're getting yourself sent off and obviously putting us in a difficult situation. But to have a captain, it's really important that the captain, you know, does defend his teammates, is passionate, you know, and the rest of the team can see that, you know. But again, there's a very thin line between passion and ill discipline. You can't, as a captain, completely lose your head because you are a leader and you have to be on the pitch and you have to set that example. I feel like Lacazette was on the brink of it was enough. Like what he did was about as much as he could have got away with. And that's kind of fine with me. Anything more than that, I think obviously you then risk, you know, putting your team in a very difficult situation. But yeah, after having such a dormant and docile captain for however long, I was pretty happy that Laka got quite passionate.
No, definitely. I completely agree. I mean, it's nice to see a senior player look after the younger players. I don't just leave them to it.
100%.
And
100%.
that's the kind of thing I want to see more of.
Yeah.
It's not just, oh, I'll stand here until you lot finish arguing sort of attitude. And that's what I find with Aubameyang.
Yeah.
It's just, do you know what? I don't want to even talk about him anymore as captain.
Yeah.
I just can't.
Gary's
Gary's
put
just
here,
can't.
he says, G months.
Perfect.
It's been years, hasn't
Perfect.
it?
Absolutely
Arsenal
perfect.
captain had no presence on the pitch. You know what, guy? Like I say, we don't, you know, I've inevitably spoken about Aubameyang, but I didn't really want to speak about him. But it is difficult too, and I think that's why Lottie just said she doesn't even want to. But yeah, no, I hear you, Gary. It's been too long. It's been too long, and that's why I don't massively, you know, mind, you know, the way Laka actually reacted during the game. Mike says here that he agrees with you, Lottie. I did think Laka had a good game on the whole and lead the line well and brought others into play and took defenders away, etc., as he usually does. I just wanted him to score too. Yeah. Gary's got here, Laka's presence is similar to Ramsdale's immediate presence when on the pitch. Laka has experience needed by this team. Mike again, Laka has been excellent in the last few games, captaining the side, especially when everyone knows the relationship between him and Uba. Stephen touched upon that, I think, in a couple of shows ago.
Yeah.
Keith, Laka helping the younger players so much. Yes, for me, like I say, I was pretty happy with it. Yes, that's all well and good, but we need Laka to turn up in the same way against Tottenham away. Yeah, fair shout.
It's not to the 9th of January. Not to the 9th of January, and that's going to be a very good away day. But at the moment, there's one more player I really want to touch on. I mean, the video is coming out of Leeds fans, like from filming and things. I mean, it's been absolutely brilliant. I mean, I think you already know who I'm going to bring on the screen. And that's Mr. Aaron Ramsdale. Yeah. I mean, the absolute, excuse my language, Stephen, if you're watching this back, but the absolute shithousery this guy thrives on, and he gives the, like, whoever he's playing against. I mean, you saw him at Leicester when the fans go, you're shit. And he'd actually joined in. He's one of them players. I mean, he was celebrating in front of the Leeds fans, and they, like, the way they filmed it, they were so upset. You can't help but sit there and just laugh at him. I mean, his passion is uncontended as a player for whoever he's playing for.
It is. He's injected so much into this team. It's almost like he's injected life and adrenaline into this team. Mm-hmm. You know, it just seemed like before he came, or before a couple of these players have come, you know, and not just the new signings, but, you know, the likes of ESR. You know, you've got Gabriel, you know, more of a permanent fixture in the back four, Tomiyasu, and, you know, his relentless kind of, you know, nipping away at people and winning possession. But yeah, Ramsdale is definitely, for me, the kind of focal point of that. It all starts at the back, and he seems to be the focal point. And he just, he's literally just injected some life into this side, some adrenaline. And you know what? He's a lovely lad. He's a lovely lad off the pitch. But yeah, when it comes to whether it's banter with the fans, whether it's, you know, getting the fans our fans passionate about the game, whether it's a scrap on the pitch, whatever the situation, he's up for it, you know, and he faces it head on. And that's what we want. That's what we need. You know, for so long, we've been too nice. You know, we've been too nice. Like, everything we do has been, you know, pass. You know, getting intimidated by other teams, not standing up to the physical game, you know, getting overwhelmed, you know, by particular, you know, away grounds in the league. And yeah, you need players like you need characters, and you need players like Ramsdale with charisma, with passion, with enthusiasm, and just straight up bants. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's willing to just give it to the Leeds fans as they're trying to give it to him, and that's what you need. You know, he's been an absolute revelation to this side. You know, like both in possession, both saving, and even when he doesn't have the ball. You know, just in terms of how vocal he is, and that's whether he's communicating with his defense or absolutely giving it, you know, to the opposition fans, or celebrating an Arsenal goal. The guy just oozes passion and enthusiasm, and you can really see that it flows through the rest of the team, and it's actually flowing through the rest of the side. So yeah, he's phenomenal, man. What did you make of the whole? What did you make of the video that came out?
I absolutely loved it. I mean, I was like, I quote tweeted it. I just put a load of smiling, laughing emojis. I was absolute fit with this.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you saw Kevin Campbell's comments afterwards on Ramsdale.
Yeah.
I mean, he said that he can be captain, but goalkeepers are crazy. They are all mad, and he's another one. He's crazy. He's a great goalkeeper, but he's mad. He loves it when the opposite position fans are giving him stick. I mean, as Tom said, grade A shithousery.
Yeah, literally.
I mean, he thrives off it. I mean, even if he wasn't on the pitch, I think he'd be in with our away fans, all the home fans. I mean, his parents are always there, so I can actually see him being there as well. Literally.
And Really Sakar says here, for how many years have we needed a keeper like that? Yeah, and we've just not, we've just not had. I can obviously remember David Seaman being a fantastic goalkeeper. A somewhat different character. He had a presence, but somewhat, more kind of calmer character from what I remember. Lehman was a right character.
Do you know what? I'll be honest with you, G. Ramsdale's the first Arsenal goalkeeper I've actually liked.
Yeah, I like.
Other than that, I
liked.
I didn't have an opinion on them. I just didn't have an opinion on them.
I liked Lehman. He was a bit like Marmite. You either loved him or you hated him. But I like
the weirdos that are neutral.
Yeah,
like
there were moments though with Lehman that I just thought, oh come on, Lehman, it's too much. You know what I mean? He had them reckless moments, but for the large part, I thought Lehman was all right. Mike says here, as soon as Ramsdale signed, I was on WhatsApp with one of his old goalkeeping coaches at AFC Wimbledon. Okay.
Oh, brilliant. That's cool.
First thing he said to me is, you've got yourself one hell of a goalkeeper. You see what I mean? So these guys know the game. Do you know what I mean? We was up here, being underwhelmed by the recruitment. And look, this guy literally, has just made us eat complete, humble pie. Ramsdale still visits the first club Wimbledon whenever he goes, whenever he can. Such a humble guy. Tom, he was England's #1 as well.
Yeah, we have been telling him that. We have been telling them that in the stands. I will hold my hands up to that. The West Ham game, singing behind him, England's #1. So I will hold my hands up to that. I believe we've come to our end of our Leeds review. It's gone over slightly longer than I thought, but we're just going to take a short break and we'll see you on the other side, guys. Hi everybody, welcome back to Elland Chapter TV, and we are back with our Sunderland preview for the Carabao Cup. And tomorrow night we are hosting Sunderland for their 5th away game of the tournament for them, and obviously I think this is our 5th home game, believe it or not. But Sunderland are coming back to us again, first time since 2017. We've played since 1893. We've played them 153 times. We've won 62, drawn 41, and lost only 50 of those games.
Okay.
The first time we played them, ironically, we lost 6-0 in the FA Cup. So it's not such a good omen, but it's a really weird fact. As I said, the last time we played them was May 17, just before they were relegated. The last 5 clashes have been 4 wins and 1 draw, 3 league wins, 1 FA Cup win, and 1 draw in the league, which the draw was at the Stadium of Light, which is not really surprising, being away. But what do you think Arteta's going to do to the team sheet, G? And I'm going to bring my team up in a second because I've gone for something really out of the box. I just want to see, how much rotation do you expect to see?
He's bound to rotate. He's bound to rotate, and I feel like this is one of the games where he can afford to rotate. We've got this period of games and going into the new year, it's full on. And he's played. He hasn't changed. The lineup too much in the last 3 games. We've pretty much started the same team. So I think this is one of those games with obviously, Norwich, albeit it goes ahead on Boxing Day, because I know there's a lot of unofficial talks about, a somewhat of a suspension happening. Let's hope that isn't the case. So yeah, I think this is definitely a game he's going to rotate the side. I hope he doesn't rotate it too much. I want the team to be somewhat familiar, but like, I don't know. It's going to be a tricky one. Just put it this way, if he doesn't rotate it too much, I'll be happy, because I don't think I'm sounding confident now, but I don't think Norwich is going to be too much of a test on Sunday. At the same time, the lads need a break. We've played the same side for the last 3 games, and if I see a completely different 11, it wouldn't surprise me, and I wouldn't be disappointed, because no disrespect to Sunderland, but they're a League One side, and we have to. And this is not underestimating them. This is not taking the piss out of them, not at all. But we are leagues above them, and we have a 25-man squad for a reason. And this is the type of game where we need to use the 25-man squad to rotate, give people and players a deserved rest. And whatever team we put out should be good enough to beat Sunderland, in my opinion, regardless of what their manager has to say or their striker, for that matter.
But come on to that. Hold your horses.
Yeah. So it will be good. It will be good to see some of the other players get some minutes. And I personally believe that whatever team we put out, we're going to give them a good hiding tomorrow night.
No, definitely. I've gone for something different with my team sheet. It's not my usual style, but I think the guys needed like a well-earned rest. There's 1 or 2 that I've kept on, and one that specifically deserves a start after the last few games coming on and scoring. I don't even have to mention his name. You know who I'm talking about. So I'm going to put my team up. I've gone for something completely different.
Okay.
I've gone with Leonard in goal, because obviously it's a cup game, and I don't think Ramsdale needs to be there. I've put Cedric in at the moment because I had a look at my fantasy football app, and it looks like Tomiyasu has picked up a muscle injury.
Yeah, he won't risk it.
So he's not going. Definitely won't be risked. In the middle, I've gone for Rob, and Kolasinac shouldn't be there because he's out.
Is he out?
Dodo. Yeah, he's out. He's broke his ankle or something. I should not have him there.
It'd be interesting because Mary's out with COVID as well.
Exactly. I think maybe Callum Chambers might come in. Complete Chambers. Let's just pretend Kolasinac is Chambers, because that is just such a schoolgirl error right there. I put Tavares out on the left. I think Kieran Tierney needs a rest. And I know he's only just come back, but I would like to see him back at the Emirates on tomorrow night. I've gone for the middle. I've gone for Elneny and Maitland-Niles, purely on the basis that Partey needs a rest, and I don't want to see that other 34 person in particular. I've put on Lacazette again because I think he's leading this side at the moment, and I don't know who I would like captain in the first place if he wasn't there at the moment. Yeah. I've started Martinelli and Smith Rowe as well, purely on the basis of their form. Smith Rowe hasn't had a start in a couple of games, and I think this is the opportunity to get his first flat out run for 90 minutes since he's come back from his groin injury. Up top, I've gone for Eddie, just for something different. I think he needs to start scoring, especially if we want to sell him. Apart from my schoolgirl error of Kolasinac, who is out, is there anything you'd change on that, Jay?
It's a good team. I think, Leno's definitely going to come back in. Cedric's going to come back in. I think Rob Holding needs a game. Chambers will play, given Kolasinac and Mari are out. Tavares, fantastic player. Do you know what I mean? He can come straight into this side and do a job. I like your midfield too of Elneny and Ainsley. I think Ainsley deserves a chance. Every time I've seen him this season, he's looked good. He's looked tidy. Probably a bit unlucky, he hasn't had more opportunities, to be honest. Elneny, against this level of opposition, he will do a job. He can do a job. He should be able to do a job.
He's not the most talented, but he knows how to put work shift in. That's what I appreciate him for.
Yeah, he can do a job. And these are the kind of games where Elneny will feature and do a good job, for Arsenal. In terms of the front, kind of like obviously number 10 and front three, I'd slightly change it in that I'd be tempted to. I'm not sure how I would change it because I've not seen this team up until now, but I would like to incorporate Pepe, just because he's not had a sniff. He's not literally had a sniff whatsoever. And I just feel like with how instrumental Martinelli has been or is at the moment, I'd be tempted to somewhat maybe drop Martinelli. And that's not because of performance. That's just because I maybe give him a rest, keep him firing against Norwich. But I know what Martinelli's like. I don't know him personally, but I know he'll be desperate to play in this match because that's just the type of player he is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can't fault the team. It's a really good side. The only other one I'm a bit concerned about is Lacazette as well. So I think if I was going to make any changes, I'd stick Smith Rowe where Lacazette is in the number 10 role. I would put Pepe on the right where Martinelli is. I'd stick Eddie on the left, and I'd play Balogun in the middle.
Oh, that's a good shout.
I think
that is a good shout.
Yeah, I think that's that. Just I don't know. But like I said, if I saw this team, I'd be happy with it. But just to kind of play devil's advocate and switch it up a little bit. I'd move Smith Rowe in the number 10 with Laka. I'd put Pepe out on the right in place of Martinelli. I'd move Eddie out onto the left because I think anytime I've seen him coming on off the left this season, he's been all right. And I'd stick Balogun and see what Balogun can do actually against a League One position. Because, if we want to get Balogun alone, this might be a good game to kind of showcase his talent against a League One opposition. So, those are the changes I'd make. No,
that's actually a really good shout. I mean, I kind of flung this together like last minute.
Yeah.
So it was like, honest confession, I completely forgot about it until our good friend Chris, who does create all our images, actually messaged me on Twitter. I'd completely forgot. So again, thank you for the last minute job for me, Chris. I do appreciate it. But yeah, no, I'd quickly flung this together, and I just think we need to see something a little bit different from what we've been seeing, because they're a League One side. Yeah, I mean the rivalry is there, because from the history, but they're not really doing the job at the moment for me, and it's just like we're going to turn you over. But at the moment, their biggest main threat is their Scottish centre forward, and that is Ross Stewart. Yeah, he's been running his mouth, so to speak. He's described this game against Arsenal as a free hit, and he's convinced that the Black Cats will completely upset Arsenal and turn them over. They do have 5,000 fans coming and invading the clock end. I mean, this guy's 22 games this season. He's scored 11. He's picked up 5 yellow cards, but he's yet to score in any of the 3 Carabao Cup games. But he has picked up a yellow. So do you think he'll be picking up yellows or even scoring tomorrow night?
You know what? I've not seen a lot of him, if I'm completely honest. But yeah, obviously in preparation for the show, I looked at some stats of some of their key players, seen some clips of him. He's a decent sized lad. He knows where the goal is, and you can't knock lower league football. You can't knock it because the likes of Vardy came from lower league football. Yeah. If you're a goal scorer, generally, if you're a goal scorer at any level, you can score goals. Some don't necessarily make the cut as they move up the leagues, but who knows? This guy might have a future one day in the Premier League. We don't know. I think they signed him from Ross County. Goal record wasn't the greatest there, but yeah, since being at Sunderland, he's averaged a goal every other game, and that's not just this season, but that's just since they've signed him. So yeah, look, I don't have any major concerns about this Sunderland side. I think Arsenal should comfortably beat this team with our first team, our second team, and our third team should give this side a game. So I'm not massively concerned. Obviously, out of all the players they have at their disposal, he's the key player in terms of getting on the score sheet. If they're gonna get a goal or they're going to be an attacking threat, he's the one we need to keep quiet. He's their top goal scorer. So, but Arteta and Arsenal will be fully aware of that. They will do all their kind of pre-match analysis, look at the key players, look at how they play football, etc. And they will be very much aware of what he has, his attributes, etc., and how to kind of keep him quiet. So I'm confident the lads will keep him quiet. And yeah, we need nothing more than to absolutely shut him up, because he has been quite vocal for a player that most of the football world doesn't know who he is. But yeah, he's got a bit of a big mouth, and so does the manager.
Oh, I haven't read those. Please do.
Yeah, you know what it was? It was in the last round was made. I think before the round was made, he said something about it would be good to play Arsenal in the next round, and then play one of the big boys later on in the competition. Yeah, he did. I remember it was when they won their last tie in the round.
Considering they haven't beat us in their last 5 clashes, he's definitely got some kahunas. I can't even remember the manager's name, but I remember the quotes coming out, and that's exactly what he said. So, wow.
all I would do as Arteta is just play what this geezer said in preparation for this match, and obviously the quotes from Ross Stewart as well. And I don't know, as an Arsenal fan, regardless of whether you're first team, you're a squad player, I don't know what more motivation you're going to need than to win this tie, because of some of the stuff that they've been saying. But yeah, they've been a bit noisy.
There you go. There's a name for you, G. Lee Johnson.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
They probably just want to build up the hype for the game, get their fans, going.
It's a cup tie. Anything can happen.
Yeah, it's a cup tie, and anything can happen. Do you know what I mean? But we need to make sure there's no upset, because not only one,
that's
obviously,
the last thing we need for Christmas.
We don't want that, but two, they've been a bit vocal, and it's nothing better than when someone's giving it all that than to just shut them up good and proper on the pitch.
It's a bit like the scoreline. It's like, here's the scoreline, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Sort of vibe. Exactly. And it's just the attitude. Yeah. G, should we catch up with these comments quickly? Because I know I skipped before we changed subjects, so I do apologise, guys.
No worries, man. Mike here. Our first game of the competition was an away game when we beat West Brom 6-0.
Okay, sorry, Mike. Apologies. I forgot about that one.
No worries.
And then again, it wasn't the Aubameyang hat trick, wasn't it? So I'm not surprised I forgot it.
Yeah. Keith says, can't wait for this game. Bring them on. Want to thrash them bad. Yep, definitely. Yeah. Mike, I reckon he'll probably change it quite a bit, which is what Lottie went with.
Yeah.
Came out earlier that the festive fixtures are all going to be going.
Yes, the Premier League released. Yeah, the Premier League released the statement. If you go to their official Twitter page, and you can look at the Championship's official Twitter page as well. The statement's on there. Just go and have a look.
Oh my God, I absolutely missed that. I was actually waiting for it as well, but
it came out about an hour before we went live.
Okay, that's quality then. Yeah. Mike said he'd go with Chambers and Rob, which is basically what you did. Obviously with Kolasinac being out. Lottie, you scared me. No rum and cola, straight rum, please.
I'm so sorry, Gary. I completely forgot. I think he's broke his ankle now, if I remember rightly. There was a really bad tackle on the international break.
It was on last international duty, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he got injured. Magnus and Guinness for me, Gary. I think Pepe ahead of Martinelli. Yeah, I'd be tempted. Yeah. I'd be tempted to play Pepe.
But it depends what Arteta's seen in training. That's the problem, and that's what he's publicly said.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of leaned towards Martinelli, if that makes sense.
Okay, Riddy Sarkar's got an interesting one. He thinks Ben White will start alongside Rob Holding.
Actually, I do like him and Rob Holding playing together. I really do. But I think Chambers needs some minutes. We haven't seen him. He came on. Yeah. He came on and scored against Leeds.
I can't even remember the.
But he came on and within a minute he scored against Leeds. I remember because I was in block 31. I was in the second row sitting next to Warren. Warren said to me, "He's going to come on and score." And what did he do? Came on and scored. It's like literally an oracle moment from Warren.
Quality. So, Gary here, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Pepe, I said needs some game time.
Yeah.
Mike, Leno, Cedric, Chambers, Holden, Tavares, Elneny.
Basically what you said.
ESR, Pepe. Yeah, that's the team I'd go for.
Yeah. I think if we're showcasing Balogun, I can see why he would start.
I'd go for. 100% the same, G. Wicked, Mike. We haven't conceded in the cup as of yet, and we played better opposition than Sunderland, and that's what I mean.
Yeah, we have, and I've got to give credit to Leno. I don't like doing it, but he made some really good saves against Leeds, from what I can remember.
Yeah, and here the guys coming with the knowledge. Mike saying Lee Johnson. I didn't even know what his name is, but I remember exactly what he said. Johnson got to beat them, definitely. And really, Sakar, there's going to be loads of Geordies traveling down tomorrow. Mike, yeah, he scored after 20 seconds or so when he came on and referring to Chambers.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, that's definitely everything. I mean, is there anything else you want to mention before I go on to fantasy football for game week 19?
Well, yeah, just obviously massive mention with regards. Obviously, shout out to a couple of guys. So obviously, Gunforce Edits, as always, for the great graphics and stuff that you always prepare for us, particularly the Christmas ones that we've got on display right now. As Lottie said earlier in the show, big up Chris. Always there to deliver our lineups, regardless of how much time or how little time we give him. So big up those two guys. Always a constant massive help to myself, Stephen, and Lottie. The only other thing I wanted to do, which I'll do again at the end of the show, was obviously, because I know sometimes when we're closing the show, people kind of tune off a little bit early. But just to let you guys know, obviously, this Thursday the 23rd of December, we will be doing our official Christmas show. So it will be Thursday the 23rd at 9 p.m. I believe. We've got some special guests, and we'll be doing some stuff on the show. I'm not gonna tell you too much because I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, it's going to be a really, really good show. We should be reviewing the Sunderland game, which hopefully will be a win in the cup. We'll be looking ahead to the Norwich game on Sunday, which I've just learned is going to go ahead. So that's great news. And yeah, we'll be having some fun and games throughout the show. So this Thursday, the 23rd of December, do not miss it. It's the Cannon Chatter official Christmas show.
Don't forget to have a spare device if you want to join in and be interactive with us as well.
Thank you. I'm not
going to tell you what though. So you've got guys have got to come back and join us.
Yeah.
I've got one more thing from Rudy before I talk about fantasy football predictions. How can I forget? That is absolutely awful. Okay, guys, right. Rudy's already done so, but if you guys can all drop your predictions in the comments, I will put them on screen in a second. Rudy's going for 2-0. I'm going to be a bit ambitious and go for 4-0. Arsenal. Oh.
Yeah. I'm going to go 3-0. 3-0 convincing win, yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. Anybody else got Keith's done a bold one. Keith's done a very bold one. 6-0. Yeah. I went 6-0 for the Leeds game. Or never again.
Yeah.
And then we've got Mike. Mike is going for a bold 5-0. Very nice.
Just see this coming here. Will there be more questions about you, G? What's your first pet's maiden name?
See, Jamie, we know how much knowledge you have on the Arsenal. We had to mix it up and rattle you a little bit. You'll find out. You'll find out what I've got in my locker for you guys on Thursday. You need to come and tune in. Have your spare device with you. Gary is going for a 4-0 goal, 4-goal win. Clean sheet would be perfection. For Leno, yes, that would be perfection.
We're all pretty confident.
No, definitely. So game week 19 starts on Boxing Day, which is on Sunday the 26th. You have till 11 a.m. I will remind you again on the Christmas special show, 11 a.m. to pick your teams. As we spoke earlier, the Christmas fixtures are going ahead. And so this next comment is definitely one of my Christmas wishes this year. Definitely one of my Christmas wishes. Fingers crossed.
Especially after they got knocked out of the Conference League without
even playing. But they didn't play. They didn't play. So they get battered even. And Jamie has gone for 3-0 as always, and he will be cashing out at half-time.
Wicked.
So, G, would you like to run us through the socials once definitely. I can find them? Right,
definitely.
Here we go.
Cool. Yeah. So, thank you for those of you who are watching. It's always an absolute pleasure doing these shows. And obviously with the the comments in the chat room being so buzzing, we really do appreciate it. If you are watching from wherever you are, we massively appreciate all your support. whether you're watching this now or at a later day or time. But yeah, if you want to follow us on our socials, we are on Facebook, which is at Cannon Chatter. We are on Instagram, which is at Cannon_Chatter. And we are actually on TikTok as well, which is at Cannon_Chatter. Most of you will know us from Twitter, the official Twitter account. If you're not following it, please do follow as soon as the show is finished. And you can find it very simply at Cannon Chatter. Stephen, who isn't with us tonight because unfortunately he's working late, but he will be back on Thursday for our Christmas special show. If you want to follow Stephen, you can follow him at SB Cannon Chatter. If you want to follow me, you can follow me at G Talks Arsenal. And if you want to follow our host for tonight's show, the lovely Lottie, that's at Lottie_B, 2 T's, 2 I's, because somebody beat her to it. And obviously, if you are interested in a bit of extra reading over this festive period and you want to find out anything at all in terms of Lottie's latest blog, please follow this link in the description. That's lottieafc.blogspot.co.uk. And lastly, second to lastly, if you want to purchase any of the Cannon Chatter t-shirts, hoodies, please do email info@CannonChatter or DM Stephen on Twitter, or DM myself or Lottie. We can give all the information. However, all the information is in the description of the video as well. And last but not least, make sure you subscribe, you turn on those notifications, and you hit that like button, guys.
All right, thank you, Jay. Right, from me, it's good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. If you're watching this back, thank you very much. G, I'm going to give you the very last word of the show.
Oh, man.
I'm going to let you have Stephen's job. Go on.
Let me quickly breeze through these last comments here, and then we'll do it. So Mike says, Spurs were going to get knocked out of it anyway, completely.
I've got a fun fact for you, G, before I forget.
Yeah.
Tottenham are the first team to get knocked out of all European competitions.
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Insane.
I saw that stat come up earlier as well.
I think I saw it on. I think I saw it on TikTok. I think.
Yeah. Crazy, man. Really, Sakar. Yeah, no, really good to have you on the show tonight. Great stuff. Loving your shows. Good vibes. We've got here Mike. Congrats on your 10K Twitter followers, by the way, GR. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was a nice little milestone to reach. Good night, Lottie and G. Good night, chat room. And you know what? Yeah, I'm just gonna say, last one, and it's is the last one from Mike. Great show as always, Lottie and G. You know what? Bring on Sunderland. Let's shut their manager up. Let's shut their striker up. And yeah, God bless and good night.
I hope Kieran Tierney's got a spare Tesco bag.
Quality.